With the final shape slowly creeping up on us with only 113 days left of Season of the Wish, I thought this would be a pretty good time to let you guys know on some weapons that you should definitely try and craft or have before the end of the season. I'm pretty sure 113 days is enough time, right? That's not too long. I'm sure most of you people watching this video will realize that when the Season of the Wish ends and the final shape launches, everything in the helm will be wiped clear, and all of these weapons that we can buy, we will not be able to buy anymore. So now is a perfect time to make sure you get them crafted before it's too late. So on the timeline of this video, I'm going to be going through all of the vendors in the helm, season by season, and give you a recommendation of the best weapons in that season to focus and craft first. If I don't mention a specific gun from a certain season, it's probably because it's not meta, but it doesn't mean it's not good. I'm just going to give you the best seasonal weapons from each season so that you can focus on them first and then get the other seasonal weapons later. Then once I've recommended all of the seasonal weapons, I'm going to go through some must-have raid weapons that you should get crafted before the end of the season as well. But anyway, let's head over to the helm and start with Season 20. Out of all the weapons available here in Season 20 at the war table, the number one weapon that I recommend you craft is the Regnant. Now, although grenade launchers haven't been the go-to heavy weapon for quite a while in Destiny, they still definitely have a place in Destiny. One of the best ways you can use a grenade launcher is in Grandmaster Nightfalls to absolutely nuke champions. With a great role on the Regnant being Envious Assassin and Explosive Light, when you come up to a champion in a Grandmaster Nightfall, you can pull this thing out and just unload all of your bullets and absolutely destroy the champion in seconds. If you even have to damage some bosses with it, it will still do a pretty good amount of damage. Getting the Regnant crafted is a very good idea because it can also roll with auto-loading holster depending on your playstyle. Another great weapon from Season 20 is the Royal Executioner. With its adaptive frame and being solar, this fusion rifle can be pretty good in certain situations. If you feel like doing some damage to bosses, you can run with Envious Assassin and Reservoir Burst. If you like killing ads with it, you can run Envious Assassin and Incandescent instead. Overall, this is a pretty good solar fusion rifle, and it's definitely one that you should have crafted. With this weapon being solar, it works very well with some of the best solar heavy weapons in the game, like the Apex Predator. So pairing these two weapons together and running double solar surges means you get solar boosts for two weapons. Moving over into Season 21, there isn't too many great weapons here that I would recommend because none of them are really that good at all. Overall, they're all pretty decent, but there's nothing that stands out here really. The only weapon that I would recommend you get from this season is the Bug Out Bag. Now this one isn't craftable, so you're just going to have to keep purchasing it until you get your said gold roll. What's so good about the Bug Out Bag is it is a Calus mini tool replica, but it is much easier to get than an actual Calus mini tool. The gold roll for the Bug Out Bag is obviously Subsistence and Incandescent, making it very similar to the Calus mini tool. So if you don't have a Calus mini tool, definitely pick up a Bug Out Bag. Moving over into Season 22, there is two weapons here that I would definitely recommend you craft, and the first one is the Eremite. Now the Eremite is a much better weapon to use for boss DPS as a fusion rifle than the Royal Executioner, because it is a high impact frame and it can also roll with some better perks. The gold roll straight away for the Eremite has to be Envious Assassin and Controlled Burst. Envious Assassin will double the magazine, making it amazing to not have to reload when you're dealing DPS, and then Controlled Burst will reduce the charge time of every single bullet once you've hit one full burst. It will also increase your damage by 25%. This is a great weapon to have for DPSing any bosses or mini bosses in the game, considering how good fusion rifles actually are. I've used this weapon in pretty much every raid that I've ever done since I've got this one crafted. It is amazing to use and it does some seriously good damage. One perfect situation that you can use this one is if you're doing Crota's End and you are on the oversold job. Now the other weapon that I would recommend from this season is the Kept Confidence Hand Cannon. Now this hand cannon is purely for PvP because it is one of the best feeling hand cannons in the entire game. The only thing letting this one down is the perks that you can choose on it. There is still some pretty good perk options on this gun like Eye of the Storm and Quick Draw, with even multi-kill clip as an option. Either way, the Kept Confidence is a pretty good hand cannon that you should definitely try out in PvP. Other than these two weapons, all the other weapons are sort of just mid from this season. Everything else in this season just gets outclassed by other weapons. The machine gun just gets outclassed by some of the other machine guns in the game, and the rocket launcher gets outclassed by the Apex Predator. So I would mainly just focus on getting the Eremite crafted. Moving over into this season, Season 23, this is one of the best seasonal weapons that we have had in a long time. There is plenty of weapons that you should try and get crafted from this season. Starting the list off with one of the best linear fusion rifles in the game, we have the Doomed Petitioner. This one is amazing and you should definitely craft this one first. The gold roll for this one being Reconstruction and Precision Instrument. This makes it an amazing linear fusion rifle for certain bosses in the game. Reconstruction will automatically reload the gun, while Precision Instrument will give you a 25% damage boost once you've hit 6 headshots in a row. This weapon perk is extremely easy to proc considering you're using a linear fusion rifle. The Scatter Signal is one of the best fusion rifles that we have in the game right now, considering it is a kinetic slot strand weapon. The gold roll for this one being Enlightened Action and Controlled Burst, or Slice and Controlled Burst, depending on your option. For me personally, I prefer Slice because it actually severs whatever enemy you're damaging if you cast your class ability before shooting the bullet. Sever is one of the abilities in the game that is actually one of the most slept on abilities in the game. If you don't know what Sever is, basically what it does is it makes the boss or whatever enemy that you've severed deal less damage to you as the user. So if you sever any enemy in Destiny, it just does less damage to you as the Guardian, which is honestly an amazing perk to have. And then Control Burst increases your damage by 20%, while then also reducing your charge time by 10%. So this is a great weapon to kill bosses with. The Appentance is the first kinetic trace rifle that we have in the game, and it is also stasis. So because this is the only kinetic trace rifle that we have in the game right now, I would definitely recommend you craft it. There are some pretty good perks that you can roll with this one. In the first column, we have weapon perks like Overflow, Demolitionist, or even Clown Cartridge. And in the second column, we have amazing perks like Killing Tally, Headstone, or even Attrition Orbs. You can pair any of these perks together, and this weapon will have a place in Destiny for you to use. Like I just said before, because this is the only kinetic trace rifle in the game right now, it is definitely worth crafting for any future needs that you may need. Now, the final weapon that I'm going to recommend from this season is the Subjunctive. This is a great submachine gun that can roll with Subsistence and Vault Shot. This weapon acts very similar to the Ikelos SMG, so if you don't have an Ikelos SMG crafted, just go ahead and get a Subjunctive because it is very similar and it operates in a much similar way. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure this is a very good submachine gun to use inside of PvP as well. Now, moving on into some raid weapons that I want to recommend for you Guardians. This is for the players that know that they can do raids or they want to try and get into raids, but these are some of the best weapons that I would recommend you focus and get first. The first weapon is the Briar's Contempt linear fusion rifle from the Root of Nightmares raid. This has to be the best linear fusion rifle in the game right now, depending on how you like to play. This weapon has a lot of perks to choose and pick from. In the first column, you can run Reconstruction, Rewind Rounds, or even Envious Assassin. In the second column, you can run Focus Fury, you can run Frenzy, or even High Impact Reserves. All of these perks together are just amazing depending on your playstyle and what bosses you are doing. Next on the list is the Commemoration from the Deepstone Crypt raid. This is my favorite machine gun in the entire game. My go-to gold roll is Reconstruction and Killing Tally. Now, Reconstruction will overload the magazine up to something like 140 bullets, while Killing Tally will give you a 35% damage boost after killing just 3 enemies. Being Void as well makes it incredibly useful to use with your Void subclass when you can proc Devour. The Commemoration is incredibly good and I would definitely recommend you get one. As for rocket launchers, there is none other than the Apex Predator. This is by far one of the best rocket launchers in the game to definitely have in your loadout and craft. The gold roll for me is Reconstruction and Bait and Switch. The Apex Predator comes from the Last Wish raid, but if you didn't realize, you can actually get one crafted through the Wishes, and you can also get the quest in the tower from Hawthorne to get a red border every week, so this one is extremely easy to get crafted at this current time in Destiny. As for grenade launchers, I would recommend getting the Forbearance, the best ad clearing weapon in the entire game. The gold roll being Chain Reaction and Ambitious Assassin. This weapon just shreds every single ad in the game. It also has an intrinsic trait called Soul Drinker, which basically just heals you on every kill that you get. You seriously can't go wrong with the Forbearance. It is an amazing weapon and one you should definitely have crafted. Now, the final weapon that I would recommend you craft is the Zhao Bane, one of the best hand cannons in the entire game. This season especially, the Zhao Bane is amazing and it works especially well with all the seasonal perks. However, it doesn't matter what the season is, the Zhao Bane is an amazing weapon. With its gold roll being Incandescent and Explosive Payload, this weapon just does an incredible amount of damage. It feels really nice and it just looks really good. But anyway, Guardians, that will wrap the list up there. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of weapons that I didn't recommend, so before you start a riot in the comments down below, these are just some of the best weapons that I recommend you craft first, and then from there you can choose other weapons to get. Since there is 113 days left in the season as of posting this video, there is plenty of time to get all of these weapons in the game, and I definitely recommend you definitely try. But anyway, Guardians, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, comment, all that down below, and let me know what your favorite craftable weapon is. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.